And we've had people draw to our attention that water treatment facilities are wondering why they're seeing so many tiny babies and in the water, because these do-it-yourself at-home chemical abortion pills are allowing women to expel the baby into the toilet.
Excuse me, tiny babies are floating in the water supply? This crazy bitch just said that she heard, and we'll get to who she heard that from, that water treatment workers are finding tiny babies floating around in the water. That's not fucking happening. That's not real. But do you want to know what is real? The bill she just introduced based on that fucking fever dream nightmare lie called the Clean Water for All Life Act. Spoiler, this has absolutely nothing to do with protecting our environment or the water supply. Which I know isn't a surprise after the tiny babies floating in the water, but let's actually look at what this bill does. It would do away with the telehealth availability of mifepristone, and it would force any pregnant person, because this would be national, to see their doctor for an exam first. The doctor would have to be present when they take the medication, and then the doctor would have to provide a fucking catch kit and a red biohazard bag so that they can put what they even refer to as medical waste, including instructions for how the patient should bring the kit and bag to their healthcare provider for proper disposal. Oh, and the punishment for providers who don't make sure those things all happen could be up to 5 years in prison or a $50,000 fine, or possibly both. And sure, this bill would make it a criminal act for doctors, not the patients. I want to remind you how many states are currently trying to get laws on their books that could give women the death penalty. And you're telling them they're going to have to use a motherfucking catch kit and bring in their own fucking bio evidence that could be then used against them? I don't fucking think so. But before you go, let me introduce you to the See You Next Tuesday that's behind this bill.
So honored to be working with U.S. Representative Mary Miller to introduce the Clean Water for All Life Act, because what we have found through our own research and studying...
That's Kristen Hawkins. She's making shit up. Her research that she refuses to release, saying that the data has not yet been released because it's currently going through a publication process with a scientific journal. And then she declined to provide more specifics on that publication's timeline. And Kristen doesn't hide the fact that this law has nothing to do with the environment. She says it's a creative response, an out-of-the-box response to a problem the entire pro-life movement recognizes. Going on to say, we're trying to limit chemical AB in a tactically smart way, using a different approach using environmental law because nothing else has seemed to work so far. They don't give a shit about our environment. If they did, they'd be doing something about real sources, like the dairy industry. Cow hormones through agricultural runoff are one of the most documented contributors to endocrine disruptors in Midwestern waterways. And they're not doing anything about that. And now for these catch kits, these traumatizing, disturbing catch kits that are not intended just for abortion. We know that because Kristen herself said this. If your midwife comes to the house and you deliver a baby in your house, I'm sure there's probably... you probably could have looked it up, but why bother, right? Just make shit up like you always do. There's probably some rules about what can or cannot be flushed down the toilet or the bathtub, Hawkins said. The rules don't change just because healthcare is being administered at home, but the rules are different, Kristen. When you don't have a midwife or a medical professional in your home and you are self-managing your care, they're different, unless you don't want them to be, unless you want another excuse to criminalize women's healthcare, which you do. I had 2 miscarriages. Both of them were flushed. They were early in pregnancy. And you know what? I didn't do anything wrong, and I certainly wouldn't have deserved to have to catch it in a dish and take it into the doctor. But that's what you want for women to do, rather than allow them any fucking dignity. Let me be crystal clear. The goal here is not to just protect women through this medication. It's to stop women from having access to it. Since stops, women have been allowed to privately and safely administer this care in their home, saving them time and money, often being able to access it even if they didn't have insurance. This bill would require not 1, not 2, possibly up to 4 visits, one of them including having to collect and take biomaterial back to be disposed of, which won't be free. You are going to ensure that women of means will always have access, but those who live in rural areas, those who don't have insurance, those who don't have the ability to take off work or find childcare, because over 60% of women who have ABs have children already, you're going to make sure they don't have access to it. Which is exactly the fucking point.